All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. A little repeat, it's GBM5. Welcome back to FWIB. Tonight we have KPMG for you guys. We hope you guys get a lot out of tonight's speaker. And yeah, this month's pillar, personal development. And committees start at 6:15 before every GBM. We have marketing, finance, community service, and sustainability. You get a point at every GBM for joining a committee, so definitely take advantage of that, especially because we're getting to the end of the semester. Here you just get to learn with the VPs, get to help them out, plan savings in the swamp, and figure out marketing materials and stuff like that. FWIB, join the GroupMe if you haven't already. The Instagram's up there. Those are two platforms that we really update FWIB the most in. Okay, yes. And also our Facebook group and page and our website, definitely follow. And yes, the Google form says 1026 and you can fill that in. Okay.
We have a partnership with Study Edge, so you input FWIB, we get like 5% of like the Study Edge membership that you use. So there's no extra cost to you, but it really help us so we can plan more events for you guys.
General announcements, follow us on LinkedIn if you haven't, connect with us and you'll connect with other FWIB people, which is really cool. And the point sheet is uploaded to Facebook now. I accidentally put it in the page and not the group. So it's been up on the page and now it's on the group. Email fwibuf@gmail.com if you have any questions or concerns and we'll get back to you. And make sure to get your points in to be considered an active member. Being an active member, you're able to apply for chair positions and e-board positions. We take that into consideration. And the person with the most points gets a prize. The top 3 people.
Hey guys, not much from me. So the marketing committee has tried to been organizing a phone wallet and maybe buttons coming soon. So that is definitely in the works and we're finally getting some progress. So look out for that soon. The marketing committee decided on that bottom design, the navy one with the Florida Women in Business and the alligator. So hopefully we can have that on our phone wallet soon. And as always, order a t-shirt. I posted the link to order a t-shirt in the GroupMe as well as the Facebook group. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or want a t-shirt.
Okay, so this Thursday we'll be having our first headshot fundraiser of the semester. It's going to be from 10 to 12, except we just decided this meeting that we're going to extend it for another hour, so it's going to be 10 to 1 now. So if you haven't already signed up and you would like to sign up, there's the QR code up there. It only has time slots from 10 to 12, but I'll be adding the other ones. There's also a spot that I made like in case for rollover. So if you want to put your name, there's like a little spot. It just says put your name under this line and just put your name there and I'll put you in a spot if that's what you'd like. It's $5 for unlimited photos during your shift. It's like 10 minutes. You can get as many pictures as you want. I will literally show you the pictures. You can see it, you can fix your hair, do whatever you want to do. It's just basically like to spice up your LinkedIn profiles and it's also open to everybody. You don't have to be both female or in the business school. It could be any of your friends. I'm making my roommates who are pre-med sign up because I told them they need it and that they should support me. So yeah, so tell your friends to come out. You guys should come out. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. My name, my phone number, and email are on the QR code. So thank you.
Okay guys, so for community service, we're doing a Thanksgiving food drive with Peaceful Paths. The flyer up there is for their Neighborly November food drive. Donations are gonna be accepted now through Sunday, November 21st. And I'm gonna be taking pickup sign up, so if you want me to come to you to pick up your donations, that's what the QR code, the one under the Thanksgiving food drive info is. And then the other one is to the Peaceful Paths website, so you can get more information on that. And you can also ask your friends and family to donate, even if they're just donating money to the cause. You can do that as well. So, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so there's a lot of professional development opportunities that you guys can utilize. One, there's a keynote speaker talking about like the future of money and AI and how that relates to money. So you can do that in person or on Zoom. Has the date there. For the Women's Network, if you guys ever heard of that organization, they are doing a Women of Color panel if you're interested to hear about speakers, about their experience in the workplace. Another one is Career Planning Workshop by Forte. That's to get tips on like planning your short-term and long-term career goals. I feel like that would be really helpful to you guys. If you're interested, like if you're almost going to be like graduating, you're thinking of grad school, there's a MBA Explore webinar. That's to like talk about like ways, more of like programs in the MBA program. And then there's also like a career ready certificate that you guys can do. So all these links and more information I posted on our Facebook page yesterday. So if you're like interested in any of that and like the Zoom links, you can look back at that post.
Hello, everybody. So I'm the professional development chair this semester, and we are hosting a workshop soon. So we'll be going over interview tips and basically just Oh wait, I'm out of order. Okay, well, please join us next Monday for that from 5 to 6, and we'll be going over situational questions that may be a little challenging. And then today we are going over some interview tips. So the first one is just to dress for success. Whenever you're meeting up with someone, make sure your appearance matters, you brush your hair, you're hygienated, and all that. You also should have a professional attitude, so make sure you're personable but professional. So make sure you don't say anything that's not appropriate for the situation. Also, keep in mind to always have manners, say please and thank you, yes sir, yes ma'am, etc. Your body language, make sure you maintain eye contact. If they ask for a handshake, shake that firmly and don't fidget. And then finally, be honest and true to yourself. So that one's just self-explanatory. Don't say something that isn't true about you because they want to get to know you and how you are. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So for internal development, our socials that we have coming, we have Chit Chat and Color, and that's on November 18th at 4:30 in Heavener 260. And then we're planning a holiday social, so details to be announced. And then for our mentor-mentee socials, tomorrow we have our mentor-mentee Q&A. And if you want to participate as a mentor, I have the QR code right there. You do just need to fill it out so I can put you guys on the introduction slides. And then mentees, if you don't feel comfortable asking your question while we're on the Zoom, you can just throw it on that QR code. And that's optional. You can always still ask it during the Zoom. And then December 2nd, we're collaborating with CAP mentors to work on your resumes at 4:30, and that will also be on Zoom.
All right, Kyla, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting. For today's guest speakers, we have KPMG and a list of their associates. We are super honored to have them here to be our guest speakers tonight, and they will be joining us via Zoom. And now they can have the floor and take it away.
Awesome. So I think we're going to go ahead and I think a few of my associate still have to join. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a few minutes until 6:45. But until then, I'll share my screen to make sure everyone can go ahead and look at our QR code. And also feel free to go ahead and check out kpmgcampus.com if you want to browse some of our opportunities right now. But the QR code also will help you out. And thank you for having us. Appreciate it. I see Bree and Johan. Hello.
Hi.
Virginia.
Hey, I said we'll go ahead and get started at 6:45 while we wait for everyone. Really quick. Let me make sure I have my stuff ready to go. Sorry, everyone. I'll share it back up in a second. Get all my Zoom and screens in order. The work from home life. How many monitors is too many monitors? That's the name of the game.
Again, to those who are just joining, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
That's awesome. Kyla, are you all in Heavener? And I see Emily's screen too. Are you all back doing meetings in person?
Yes, we're managing the meeting via Zoom for those who are on Zoom right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, we have like a hybrid version type beat. So we like have the Zoom up on here and people in person.
Wait, that's awesome. Good for you all. And I think we have everyone, Bree or Yuan, do you see everyone in there? I don't have the list in front of me.
Sorry, Virginia. I'm trying to look. There's just so many people,
I know, right?
which is great. Let's see. Christine, are you on?
Hi. Yes,
Oh,
I'm here.
there she is.
Can you
Hi,
hear me now?
Christine.
Sorry, my
Sorry.
computer's like 2 minutes behind my clicks. So I
No,
apologize.
you're good. I just wanted to make sure you're on. See Heather, Virginia. We can probably go ahead and get started, Virginia.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll start out all introducing ourselves and talk about our name, practice, office, and where we graduated from. So I'll go ahead and get started. Hey everyone, my name is Virginia Howell. I was a business administration major at Florida not too long ago. And by not too long ago, I mean this past year I graduated in spring of 2021, so very recently. But I interned with KPMG before I joined the firm full time, and I currently work out of our Ignition Center in the Atlanta office, and I'm an advisory associate in our transformation delivery practice, which you'll get to hear a little bit more about. But I'll go ahead and toss it to Bree to introduce herself next.
Thanks, Virginia. Hi, everyone. My name is Bree Bloss. I also, too, am a somewhat recent grad from the University of Florida. I graduated with an undergraduate degree in industrial engineering in 2019. And then I went on and did my master's of science and management, so at the School of Business at UF, and graduated in 2020, which was a weird time. And shortly after started working at KPMG in October of 2020. So I work in the advisory practice as a data and analytics consultant in Denver now. Christine, you want to go ahead?
Sure. I'm Christine Clark. I am a managing director in our business tech services group based in Tampa, Florida. I am actually a graduate of the University of Georgia, but I appreciate you guys letting me be on the panel and speak because I do a lot of recruiting at the University of Florida as well. I have been working for over 17 years. I've been in a few different offices. I tell people I've had multiple lives at KPMG. So if you think something isn't workable, it is. I've been on alternative work arrangements. I've been in different service lines in different offices, but really started to grow out our Tampa office about 6 years ago. So I'm excited to be here and thank you for having this bulldog be a part of your panel.
I can go next. I'm Heather Sidnor. I am an audit senior manager out of our Tampa, Florida office as well. I also graduated the University of Florida, but not as recently as the others. So I will not age myself and let you know when. But I will tell you that I have been with KPMG for about, oh gosh, it's probably 8 or 9 years at this point. So you guys can do the math of when I graduated. I did graduate with the bachelor's and master's in an accounting degree. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I'll go next. My name is Yuhyun. I graduated from the University of Florida in December 2020 with a marketing major, and currently I'm part of advisory, specifically in inside sales, and our team is called Demand Generation. I think you guys learned to know that KPMG is very super complex, so there are a lot of names too of like what we do. So I hope that doesn't really confuse anyone.
Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and dive right in. I will send it off to Christine.
Sorry, I keep saying my clicks are like 2 minutes behind me.
No worries.
So obviously, can you guys hear me okay? I just heard a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, you should be good now.
Okay. Obviously, I think the biggest thing to hit upon this, the numbers are impressive, but I think the biggest thing to mark is that we are a growing firm. I think every year we have a plan and that we beat it. So we have professionals all across the globe. One of the things I will talk about a little bit later is that I get to interact with our tax professionals across the globe, which is really interesting as we have cross-border issues come up. We're recognized, I think, in the Fortune 100 as one of the best companies to work for in terms of flexibility, working moms, diversity. I was previously at another Big Four, and I can truly say that the culture of KPMG is what's driving the growth, and it's driving the positive numbers increase, not only in revenue, but professionals around the globe. You switch to the next slide. Ooh, look at that.
I know. Real transitions here.
Yeah. So I think you got a little bit of a sense of, the different professionals on the phone. Ignition Technology is a huge investment that KPMG is making. We have earmarked a $5 billion investment in technology. I know for tax, $1 billion of that has been focused on tax specifically over the next 5 years. So you will hear professionals in Ignition. They cover down and help on all service lines. I'd say we serve the majority of the Fortune 500 companies, whether it's from advisory, audit, or tax. We're out there in full force at some part serving the key accounts really around the globe. So as I sit here and talk about how great KPMG is, how much we're growing, like I said, I really do think the numbers speak for themselves. But as just to give a little bit of perspective, I started at KPMG as an experienced senior. I started in our Honolulu office. I was a former military spouse. Like I told you, I've had at least 9 lives at the firm. And when I started at KPMG, I got really burned out at another Big Four. And I said, I need to go back to a Big Four. From a tax perspective, there was things I was missing. And I didn't know how long I'd last. I was like, can I make it to manager? Like that'd be a great goal for me. And I've been at KPMG now for over 12 years as a managing director. And I can truly say the incentives are great and the people are great. And it's the personal touch that goes along with it. And it ties into the incentives because I think the biggest thing that KPMG recognizes is that our people are our biggest asset. And we want to make sure that our people feel that appreciation. We're recognizing them for the things that are important in our profession. And when we get to the next slide, don't flip to it yet. We also focus on making sure that people get the time off that they need, that they get the benefits that they need, that they get the maternity leave, the paternity leave, all that goes into the full package of the individual at KPMG. So speaking to the specific incentives that are up here, obviously there's a huge incentive for the CPA exam. There's courses that KPMG covers to help you prepare for the CPA exam. And I actually know several Elijah Watt winners. I think they are fantastic people. So it's that additional incentive bonus to perform well on the CPA exam. I was not one of those. I was just happy to pass. And then Encore Awards. I think all of us, it's little things that we do for our team members. In tax in particular, we come up against some very stressful deadlines. In terms of recruiting efforts, in terms of being the first person to raise your hand to say, hey, I want to volunteer for that. Encore Awards are something that we give in either small or large increments to give those extra incentives to our people to help them know that we are recognizing the small things. All right. And as an added bonus for new professionals that start, there's annual perk reimbursements. You can spend it however you want. I think this graph does a great job of seeing how different people spend it. And there's also an incentive to stay for 3 years. We know kind of transitioning through starting as a staff, making it to senior. I will tell you, our senior associates are such a critical part of running our engagements. They really kind of they spend so much time developing the staff, and they really help the managers and the partner group keep everything on track. So we want to make sure that people are rewarded for their investment and their loyalty to KPMG as well. I guess we're gonna flip to, but for other KPMG members on the phone, is there anything to say about those benefits? They're really personal to each person, so I don't want to take the whole spotlight if someone else wants to chime in on anything particular, speaking through the slides on the CPA exam or incentives or the retention bonus.
I really love the Encore Awards. Those go a really long way, especially sometimes when you complete those implied tasks that may not be specific to your project, but help it along. That maybe your whole team doesn't see, but another team member sees you like really putting your all into it. One of my favorite parts about working here.
Yes, I even got them. And I'll be honest, my daughter and I went shopping this weekend and I bought some new boots, and it was because of an Encore Award, and I was super excited about it. So they never get old.
I just want to add in, and I might be slightly veering off track because I don't want to get too into KPMG's values and whatnot, but regarding kind of benefits and whatnot, KPMG just has its people at its core so solely focused that they are willing, kind of to what you were just talking to, Christine, reward for hard work. And I think it empowers you to know like, hey, I'm doing a really good job. I want to continue doing that. And it just lets you know that the company cares about you and they want to reward you as well. It's not like a, kind of to your point, like a deadbeat, grind out, never rewarded situation. There's a lot of incentives to continue sticking with the firm, doing a good job. If you're interested in other groups, there's opportunities to talk to other people and transfer. And so I think there is just a lot of focus on our people and making sure that we're providing like the best benefits to them.
Yep. So I think a focus that has always been there, but one that is so critical, particularly in what has been mostly a work from home environment, is just our people's well-being. You know, sometimes you think, oh, I work from home, it's so flexible now. And what I've noticed with my team members is that it's been hard for them to find a break because they feel like they have to be on all the time. I laughed one day talking to someone. I'm like, I'm surprised I was able to take a lunch break before. I feel like I can't even get downstairs to like make a sandwich because you're on calls all the time, staying connected to your team, which is really important when you're working from home. So the firm has a couple of things that I know our team has really taken advantage of. One is we have a summer shutdown. It's right around July 4th holiday. And what's great about that is that most people really try to take it and shut down and not email, respect the fact that everyone is either, you know, on vacation with their children, doing something that's personal to them. On the flip side, there are times where sometimes that doesn't work. And we've been able to make exceptions where if people can't take that shutdown during that week because of a client obligation, we make sure that they get it when it's convenient for them so that they still get that time. We have Jumpstart Friday, so it varies in tax based upon what service line you're in and when the deadlines are, but really at 3 p.m. on Friday, people log off, they can start their weekends early. Kind of, again, it's one of those like completely shut down the computer. And I even tell team members that work on engagements with me, I'm like, log off from Teams. Like, you've covered everything, like log off because you can still get those messages and it still makes you feel like you're attached and you're working through your stuff. We do have a sabbatical program. It flexes where it's, 20% of your pay with your benefits, and it can vary based upon the amount of time that you want to take off. I have used that program several times. It's been very beneficial to me. And I think the other thing is just the PTO that we get. I envy all of some of our younger staff that plan these awesome vacations, abroad and to Europe and everything else. I have not been able to do that for personal reasons, and that's totally fine. I know last year a lot of people could do that. So I really try to get in front of trips that team members want to take, because you can always plan around them if you know them. So I think the PTO benefit, I think the fact that KPMG does a great job of respecting PTO. They understand people need that time off. They understand people put a lot of effort into planning trips with their families. And so again, also with the shutdowns around the holidays and the 4th of July, KPMG really wants to make sure that people are getting that time to recharge, because if you're not good with yourself, you're not going to be good at work. And so it's very important to make sure that you can kind of take time off, hit the reset button, and then come back, because then you're mentally focused on the task at hand at work. All right. So I think that's kind of, I will come back and talk about the awesome opportunities in tax in a little bit, but that was just an overview of our firm. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or KPMG team members, if there's anything else to add before we kind of kick it over to audit.
All right. This is Heather Sidnor again, Audit Senior Manager in the Tampa, Florida office. And I will kind of talk you through what it's like to work in audit. And I think the first sentence that we have on here could not be more true, that a career in audit can be extremely dynamic. I think you could talk to 5 different individuals in the audit practice and their day would look a little different, or their client portfolio would look a little different. Do you think it is a dynamic field to be into? The first bullet point, opportunity to serve multi-billion-dollar global companies. We do audit many public companies here at KPMG. These audits could have multiple partners, managers, seniors on them. So you could be getting to work on large global companies, but we also do focus on the private sector companies as well. And so those teams could be a little bit smaller, maybe 1 partner, 1 manager, 1 senior, maybe 2 staff, and you might be able just to get to see maybe a bigger picture of the company. So really you could get multiple different types of opportunities depending on the types of clients and industries that you're working in. Auditors do need to think critically. The accounting standards are always changing. Industries are always changing. Something is always impacting your client, especially this past year with COVID-19. The amount of audit procedures that we've had to change or take COVID-19 into consideration would amaze a lot of people. And when it first started happening, I didn't even think about it. And then you get into your audits and it's amazing how much COVID has impacted all of your clients. So you really need to think critically about how that drives your audit test work and what you need to do as an audit team to kind of reassess your audit approach or risk assessment throughout the audit to cover all of those changes and thinking critically for that. And it is definitely a career that is challenging. Like I said, there's always new accounting standards coming out. You have to be ready to learn about them, ready to implement them at your company. You have to be willing to work with many different types of individuals and personalities. All clients are going to be different. All controllers, all CFOs are different. Even all partners are different. And you kind of have to learn how these people like to work and how to adapt to their styles. And it's just, there's a new challenge every day, and it keeps the career very, very interesting. And then just kind of talking about technology is at the center of the future of audit. Like Christine mentioned earlier, KPMG is investing a lot of money into technology, and especially in the audit area, whether that be improving our audit platform. So we're now more web-based than more like application-based than we were before. So it moves a little bit quicker. People are able to look at more things or some things at the same time rather than waiting for somebody to finish something before you can go in and do it. Incorporating IT audit into our audits more frequently so that we can rely on maybe some more IT controls in our audits. We've definitely been implementing some more applications for data manipulation, or to enhance our audit test work to kind of streamline some services or some procedures so that the core audit engagement team can focus maybe on the more critical or the more risky audit areas and not really be in the weeds with these large Excel files that we have data services that can do that for us now. So yeah, that's the future of technology. So I will pass it back to Christine now to talk about opportunities in tax.
Yes. Thank you, Heather. So, people ask me all the time, like, why did you pick tax? And I will be honest, I was a grad assistant for my intermediate 3 professor. He was a University of Florida alumni, so we got into it quite often. And he was like, well, you should go into audit because you talk all the time. And I was like, well, okay. And so I actually did an internship in audit and I liked it. But then when I kind of peeled back the onion about what I wanted to do, I just always loved the law. And when, president candidates were running for office, tax was always at the core of what they're doing. And huge bills are going through the House and the Senate right now. And there's a lot of gridlock on Congress between what law is going to pass and what deals are being made so that these provisions are in and these provisions are out. And to me, it was just very interesting to understand the ins and outs of that. And then taking it back to a client and say, okay, well, we're really trying to, cut down on this type of spend. So what that means is we're going to raise the rate to kind of combat, right, where there's some gaps. And it was just the trade-offs, right? And kind of going back to a client and saying, okay, how does this apply to you? And that's something I still do 17 years later. We have a lot of conversations right now about whether tax reform is going to be passed. Is it going to be passed by the end of the year? That has huge implications for our clients all around really the globe. I think what I find most interesting about tax, and really to Heather's point, is that I don't step too far away from my friends in audit, because in my specific focus of tax, I do a lot of financial statement support on the income tax provision. And so I partner with almost every single audit partner in North Florida, serving accounts, coming in, reviewing the income tax provision, making sure everything looks correct. And I love the financial statement part of it. With that as well, though, I dab a lot into the Ignition space, and I work with Ignition to understand how can we take a client's data, streamline it, provide analytics that are helpful for them to understand their global footprint around the world. Where are they paying direct tax, indirect tax? How can we do this faster, better? How can we provide them with visualizations that are helpful to them? And how can we kind of transform their tax function? So I have my hand in a lot of pots, and that's why I like it so much, because it's so vast and you can do so much and you can change a lot. I think I previously said that I was in a different service line. I spent 2 years in state and local tax, which I think is fascinating. You can go to any client and you can really figure out what they're doing by understanding their SALT footprint. And that is, if they're a distributor, where do they have warehouses? Where are they sending product out to? If they're a manufacturer, where do they have operations? If they're licensing intangibles, what does that mean? There's so much that you can do, and it's so vast. So that's kind of what keeps me interested in tax to this day, 17 years later. If we flip to the next slide, and I like it that it's a little circle with arrows, because I can tell you, I work with every single one. I work with a partner, a managing director, and a manager in every single one of these service lines on almost a daily basis. When we go into a client and we look at their structure, a lot of times it's not just Fed tax, which is kind of what my bread and butter is. It's international operations. Where do they have property? Where do they have cash? How do we make this a functioning tax department for them? And how do we help with their treasury function as well? So all of us work together to try to figure out optimal tax operating strategies. It's a lot of planning. And like I said, it also kind of comes back to the technology piece, because there's also large volumes of data involved. And how do we kind of siphon through that data to figure out what we need? I think at the core of what we do is really our Washington national tax practice. Some of the brightest and best people are at KPMG, W&T, and they're just the nicest people too. I will call them. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm a little bit in over my head right now. A good example was an interest expense provision that was passed back when President Trump was in office. It was called the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And so working through a lot of those situations with my client, I would get on the phone and they would just model stuff out for me. They're like, hey, let's go through it. And it was almost kind of like being in class, which I appreciated, but it's when you can break down such a large technical concept into debits and credits And it always kind of goes back to those debits and credits when you're working in tax and audit. And it kind of gets back to, when I was in school and why I wanted to do this. So I like the circle because we all work together. Ignition, Washington National Tax, and our Shared Services Center, which I don't know if people saw, but it's being built out in Orlando to really help with some of that back office compliance function. We all work together, and I think we talk on a daily basis. So I am probably a little bit of a nerd, with my tax hat on, but it's been a fascinating career. The things I love about it the most are the client relationships that I have, bringing those ideas to them. I mean, even today I was sending out invites to our webcast next week about what's the latest on Capitol Hill. So it's all those things that make tax interesting to me. And I guess I'll pass it on to advisory now.
Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the opportunities in advisory. Similar to Heather talking about audit and the diversity that she gets to kind of work in between different industries and whatnot, as you can see, there is a increasingly complex marketplace in our day and age. So everything's becoming more data focused, technology focused and whatnot. As I expressed earlier, I am a data and analytics strategist consultant. That's just one branch within many, many branches of advisory at KPMG. It can often be a little overwhelming with how many different groups of advisory you have, but if you have any interest at all, there's most likely a group out there for you that you can help kind of solve those business problems. So in just the past year alone that I've worked at KPMG, I've worked on clients from financial services to blockchain in the oil and gas industry, and I'm currently on a life sciences project, just to name a few. So as you can see, our clients are really coming to us as this shift in marketplace occurs. I think Heather probably touched on it, and Christine as well, regarding COVID-19. That was a huge disruptor. So we're really just here to kind of answer our clients' biggest issues, which kind of transitions us to the next slide. So these are just some of the many questions that organizations will ask us to solve. I mean, the list is really endless. This is just a couple to kind of get the ball rolling in your head. But KPMG Advisory really has the answers. So like I said, whether it's a different industry, whether it's a different problem in the marketplace, something that could be very tailored and specific, something that may be a little bit more overarching and just looking for business leadership and thought leadership into it, KPMG most definitely has answers. One of the biggest reasons that I went into advisory was I was an engineer. I love problem solving. It's definitely the way that my brain works, but I knew that I didn't want to be building bridges and working with a lot of bill of materials and whatnot. So I wanted to be working in business, and I want to be solving business problems. So if any of you guys are interested in that, I highly recommend you can reach out to me via LinkedIn if you ever have questions, but we're really here to help our businesses solve problems, and it's very rewarding to know that you have an impact and you're literally solving multi-billion-dollar problems for people. Perfect. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, sorry if I missed the graphic all the way.
Oh, no worries at all.
Yeah, I think I'm handing it back over to you, Virginia.
Yes, and let me continue the advisory train. So I will talk a little bit about our two groups within advisory. Bree did a good job of talking about what our role is within the firm, along with audit and tax. But within the advisory group, we're divided up into two kind of main conglomerates, and that is deal advisory and strategy. And then we also have consulting as its own. We are kind of like regarded, as Bree mentioned, the trusted advisors of helping these businesses solve major problems. And we can do it on an ongoing basis, talk about if a company wants to solve a major tech problem, but we're kind of all encompassing, especially with these two groups. So to talk a little bit about deal advisory and strategy, they mostly hire accounting majors who potentially are CPA eligible. So this would be for our accounting majors out there. This group helps really when businesses are making major changes, like whether you want to grow your business or you've identified that you want to now merge with another company. They help companies kind of take it to the next level and execute any business strategy that they may have identified. So that is a little bit about our deal and advisory group specifically. and they're a really fun bunch. I have a few of associate friends who work in strategy, and they really really enjoy it. So it's very, very complex problems, I will say that, but that's what keeps it exciting. And then I will start off by talking a little bit more about our consulting practice. So again, remember that deal advisory and strategy are one pillar, and then consulting is another pillar, and that's within our advisory practice. I know it's a lot of structure there, so trying to help you keep it straight. But within consulting, you can see there are a lot of different what we call service lines. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my service line here. As a shameless plug, I am in transformation delivery. So what transformation delivery does is once maybe our strategy folks have identified that KPM or a company is going to now merge with another one, transformation delivery really helps also execute on that and help them get from those large transformative journeys from beginning to end. So what does it look like when you have now bought a whole company and you want to integrate your financial system with theirs? That sentence even sounds too big for my brain to comprehend. So you can imagine how many of our professionals are able to solve those major problems for companies sometimes that have, over 5,000, 10,000 employees and have to think about those massive beginning to end journeys. It's really exciting too, transformation delivery, because a lot of our what we do doesn't exist previously. We're not doing like standardized maybe implementations. What we do is like process creation of how you're going to get from point A to point B after you've just made this major change, which is something I found that was really exciting that I wanted to do and why I chased after it. But I love being KPMG advisory professional, and I'm going to pass it off to another one or another person on this call to talk about their advisory practice. Bree, if you want to talk a little bit about data analytics, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go next. Virginia did a really good job of describing kind of advisory as a whole. The best way, and this is kind of just an overview, the best way that I can think about it, and this really helped me when I was in your position, going through the whole interviewing process and learning about these different firms, is that advisory is like a huge umbrella. And within advisory, we have consulting, and then we have deal advisory. And then within those umbrellas, we have various other groups. So within our consulting group, our consulting umbrella, we have these other 8 specific groups. So I sit within the technology enablement group. And within that umbrella, I sit within data and analytics strategy. So there's so many different levels. Don't worry too much about it. It can get very confusing, but it's really nothing to worry about. Specifically within technology enablement, we do a lot of kind of the earlier step of what Virginia was talking about. We do a lot of strategy development. My role specifically in data and analytics strategy, we'll go into a business and kind of assess what they're currently doing, where maybe some of their major gaps are. So from a data and analytics standpoint, whether that's their data management, data governance, maybe they just need a complete refresh of their data strategy as a whole. So how pieces are moving through the puzzle, or what hands are being touching what systems and softwares. I personally have a really big data and analytics focus, but within our group as a whole, we're really identifying the technology kind of opportunities to make sure that a business is functioning in the most efficient manner possible. So again, you can have a variety of clients, but all kind of surrounding that tech sphere. I don't know that Priscilla or Tammy are on the call, so we might not hear from them in their service lines.
I know, but it's no worries. Bree and I were here to represent advisory tonight. And like Bree said, if you have any questions about KPMG advisory, definitely feel free to connect with us.
Sorry, maybe one more thing that I'll add on regarding consulting. I know that you said, Virginia, you have friends in other groups. I feel very similarly as well. And one thing just I want to express to you is that there are so many different opportunities, and however client facing you want to be, you can kind of rule out that division. So I personally wanted to be very client facing. That's why I'm in this strategy role where I relate with businesses on a daily basis. I'm in front of a client on a regular basis. But I also have friends who are within consulting who are still in technology enablement, but they're more on an implementation scale. So we have a variety of softwares that we implement at our different client sites. And if you want to be a person that's maybe more on that implementation process, not necessarily in business meetings on a daily basis, talking with the client, but behind the scenes, really solving those detailed processes or implementing a software, there's such varying ranges of how client facing you are. So a lot of different opportunities if you want to be facey and you know, in front of the camera, or if you want to be more behind, like really getting down and dirty, a lot of opportunity.
Love it. All right. I will pass it to Yuhyun to talk about our inside sales.
Thanks, Virginia. Hi, my name is Yihan. I'm part of Inside Sales at KPMG, and we sit under advisory too, but we are sort of special in a way that our team is very new. So we sit under advisory. There's business development organization, and within that, our team called Demand Generation sits there, and we are at top of the sales funnel. So we are generating leads for our more experienced sales representatives and for our client service delivery professionals. And by doing that, we're trying to begin building relationships and create potential opportunities for our firm and really strengthening our firm's brand. And we do this by collaborating with within our team and also within partner levels. So they're more like executive levels in normal language. So you'll be working with people who have 20 to 30 years of experience within the firm to best strategize our outreach activities. And then we also do a lot of client research on the company level and also on the person/the contact level to make sure that we're bringing the best value for our clients. And for this, for our team, we are looking for we're looking for students who are intellectually curious. So you want to learn, you're curious to know things all the time, and also who wants to work in a team setting and also have and enjoy working with others, not just in our team, but also across practices. And for our inside sales program that we would like to call it, it is a 2-year program. You don't have to have any CPA or technical or any certifications. I was a marketing major, so no need to worry on that. But when we hire you guys, we give a 10-week training. So we give you all the information that you need, and it's just a really fun collaborative environment. And also we focus on generating leads for client business issues around finance and supply chain. And that's what we do. And we, if you go to the next slide, Virginia, this is our office. We are based out of Orlando. So for this specific program or position that you'll be in, we hope to get back into the office full time when COVID gets better in Orlando. And so within our floor, there are, down left, lower left, there's like a collaboration setting, and those like doors are like little individual personal spaces where you can make calls if you need to. And then they're also in the middle, in the top middle picture, those are more like individual desk area where you can work on your own or just like talk with your colleagues to best brainstorm for your outreach activities. And there are also coffee room and other spaces to meet other people from the practices, so you have the opportunity to network as well. And we are looking for full-time for January start date at the earliest in March or April. And then we're also looking for interns for the summer.
All right, that was awesome. And it's a perfect segue into campus recruiting, which hopefully is at top of mind for you all. So this is the UF recruiting liaison, Chloe Lipking. Definitely write her name down, connect with her on LinkedIn, and her email is also right there, clipking@kpmg.com. Chloe knows every single in and out possible, maybe that you haven't even thought of yet, about recruiting for KPMG, and specifically too when it comes to recruiting from the University of Florida. You know, she's a great person to ask any questions that you may have. If you like your specific situation, you know, requires a nuance or something like this, she is the go-to for you, specifically when it comes to campus recruiting. So definitely take a picture or write down her name, connect with her on LinkedIn, because she is awesome. And that will also lead right in. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit specifically about our recruiting process in general. So unfortunately, our fall 2021 deadline did pass, but a lot of our positions have extended deadlines or even added positions. So definitely go to kpmgcampus.com to see what's available. It's really interesting because this year they redesigned our application process for campus, that it's now on a national level, which is awesome because it makes it a lot easier for you to match your interests with what particular service or group you might want to apply for. So definitely encourage you to take advantage of it. It's a cool system now where you can put in like your major and different interests, and it will kind of populate with what you might be interested in that's open and available, or maybe what's becoming open and available. So take advantage of that because it's a really great new feature we added. I will say we recommend applying as soon as you can because interviews are now on a rolling basis with the deadline being passed. So definitely go ahead and check out as soon as you can. And as I mentioned before, Chloe is absolutely your go-to if you have any questions about your specific situation. Being UF alum, we know we have some nuances with our combined degrees, our Masters of Accounting program, and different graduation deadlines. What does it mean of what I should apply for? So definitely if you have those type of questions, Chloe is the person you should reach out to. And in spring 2022, our applications will open for 2023 for internships and full-time. So I'll leave that up there one second. All right. So just as kind of an end all, I know the session was about professional development, specifically at KPMG. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to everyone to just pose the question, what's a professional development opportunity that KPMG has been able to provide you? And I'm actually going to kick it off with our Mrs. Tax herself, Miss Christine.
Hey everyone, sorry, it takes a second for the video to come on. So I'm sure everyone, all the other panelists will kind of talk about some different, mentors, coaches, and everything else along the way. And I've experienced all those, and I'll be honest, it's the main reason that I've still been at the firm. Different life events have come up where I've needed help to understand, how can I transfer to this office? What's the next move for me in my career? I think a very unique experience from a professional development standpoint was that I was asked to participate in our Stacey Lewis Rising Stars event almost 2 years ago, which is Stacey Lewis. She is in the LPGA, and she sponsors 4 events per year, one being the Stacey Lewis event, which is a professional development program for 25 senior manager, director level KPMG professionals. So I think it was 8 advisory, 8 audit, 8 tax, and I think 4 from BPG. It was an amazing 2 days. We all went to San Diego, and we had a Harvard professor basically talk to us about networking and relationship development. And we actually kind of mapped out, who our network is. Are we tapping into the right people? Because a lot of consulting and Big Four is about relationships and networking. And it's really kind of taking a look at where are you at in your network and where do you want to go? And then the second part of it was golfing with Stacey Lewis, which was terrifying. I realized that practice rounds at Topgolf were not really the best way to get ready for this experience, but it was a wonderful program that KPMG invests in for women in particular to help them understand that the future is very bright for them. I got to meet a lot of senior leadership partners within the firm, and it was great just to get to hear them and hear their stories. So it was an experience I did about 2 years ago. It was honestly one of the changing points for me at KPMG, just to listen to our KPMG female leadership partners along with the external speakers that they brought in. And it was just a wonderful program. So I think that would be mine.
I can go next. So as I've recapped, I've only been at the firm for 1 year. So obviously gaining leadership positions is not super easy because there's so many professionals above you who have just far more experience in the working environment as a whole, but especially at KPMG. But one of the professional development opportunities that was provided to me, which has helped me immensely, was being given the opportunity to be a transitional coach. So every new hire that enters the firm gets a transitional coach who will help them, as it sounds, transition into the firm. It is such a large organization that it can get kind of easy to get overwhelmed with kind of new hire onboarding processes, knowing who to talk to. You do get a direct mentor called a a PML. And they typically guide you directly with your engagements and projects and whatnot. But where I really enjoyed being a transitional coach is the fact that I got to provide, I guess, kind of guidance and leadership to a new hire who maybe wasn't so concerned with their technical abilities, but just kind of getting their footing in the firm and whatnot. So it was a really cool opportunity for me. I've actually volunteered to be a transitional coach in the future because it allows me to grow my network first and foremost, talking with different individuals from different service lines within advisory. And it also allows me to kind of get that start on a leadership position that I maybe would not have been available at such an early kind of career point in my career. So definitely a cool opportunity to be a transitional coach. If any of you ever, join the firm, I have my fingers crossed for you all. You'll get a transitional coach. And if we ever cross paths again, that would be really, really cool.
I can go ahead and go next. I would say professional development at KPMG for me, something outside of the audit practice. I have not always been comfortable with public speaking, so to kind of force myself out of that uncomfortability, I chose to be a national instructor. So for either I've taught audit interns that have come in and audit associates, first years. So this is whenever pre-COVID, whenever we were doing in-person trainings, but it was a week-long opportunity to where you kind of get a very thick binder of materials that you are paired up with other individuals at KPMG, and you spend the week teaching these interns or new hires all about KPMG, all about our audit tools. And I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to practice my public speaking on maybe a not so intimidating audience, which is nice to always have that practice. But also it's nice to know what your interns in your first years are learning, so that when they come to your jobs, what you should expect them to know and what they should have no idea what you're talking about for. So I've really appreciated that opportunity to kind of help my public speaking in that sense.
I would say mine's also similar as Bree, because I did start in January of this year. I also got to be a transitional coach about 7 months into my role, because our team's very small. So I was a transitional coach for the interns that we had. So that was a really fun experience. She and I met weekly and did check-ins, how she was doing. And if she needed any help, she could just message me on Teams anytime. So I was trying to be available for her. And also I'm a transition coach for new hires as well. Other professional development opportunities that were available for me was when was through lunch and learn sessions, where other people in our firm, they discuss, they choose topics, for example, networking or imposter syndrome at work settings. So that was a really good experience for me to meet others, but also also develop professionally and be aware of these topics.
All right. And I'll just quickly share that you can see there's a wide array and wide range of professional development opportunities, no matter what point you're at in your career at KPMG. So I think that's the emphasis here, is that, you know, no matter what point you're at in your career, we do continually to professionally develop our people, especially a lot of our women, right, to propel them to leadership roles. So that's something that I encourage you to continue to look for companies that place an emphasis on development throughout your career, and specifically development of our women who are in leadership roles or want to be in them. So I highly encourage you to check that out. But does anyone have any final questions? I know we're over time, but we're more than happy to answer them if need be.
I have a quick question just for everyone. So if our members want to start building a relationship with KPMG, what is the first thing that they should do after this meeting?
I would 100% say start with Chloe. Connect with Chloe Lipking on LinkedIn. Chloe will post information about events specifically happening at UF or about any upcoming application deadlines or opportunities. And, you know, one of KPMG's restructurings with the national campus recruiting model is that Chloe does have a lot of insight specifically around the University of Florida's recruiting. So that is absolutely pivotal, especially moving forward. You know, she'll be in this role to develop a relationship with UF, like, you know, the UF Women in Business or other student organizations. So it's her job really to know what's going on at UF. So you all are great people for her to connect with to help her understand that, and for you all to learn more about KPMG throughout your years as you become freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a great presentation. We will definitely send out all of your contact info to all our members so they can reach out. We really appreciate you guys coming out tonight for us. Great presentation. For everyone on Zoom and in person, I will be putting up the feedback form and the sign-in. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Great.
All
Thank you
right.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Over.